Haha, I'm back. This time with my other show. So I did all three of my shows this weekend. Hello, this is Dylan Lang, and this is volume 16 of the List Show, 37 from 2025. I should have done this months ago since we were in the death throes of April, with May 1st coming out on Friday. These are the top 37 movies I watched for the first time in 2025. Now, I actually only watched 37 new movies in 2025. So these are all the movies that I had never seen before in 2025. Some are new that I saw in movie theaters. Some are old that I had never seen. I finally got around to seeing. I also saw other movies in the year as well that I'd seen before and I like to rewatch again. But this one are the top 37 that I watched this year. Again, as I said, I only watched 2025. I only watched 37 films I'd never seen before in 2027. So here they are. Again, they were both in theaters and also via DVD or Netflix or whatever. Some are older, some are more recent. So let us start with number 37. To me, one of the biggest disappointments in filmmaking. Christopher Nolan is a decent filmmaker, has made some really, really great movies. And he released one in 2020, which I never got around to see. And I finally did. And you know what? I didn't like it that much. Number 37 is Tenet. Now, it's not because I didn't quite understand the storyline. The storyline is a bit off kilter, and there are aspects of it I don't quite understand, but you get the general idea of the stuff. It just, for whatever reason, I just was not invested in the movie. The bad guy played against Sopranos was good. The main actors were okay. The storyline about, crimes happening in the past and you seeing them in the future is kind of a weird sort of thing. As I said, kind of a weird thing. Very well, if you look at it from a technical aspect, it was decent, but the film itself, I was not the biggest fan of it, and I don't know what else to say. It's just, is it partially because I didn't understand it? Maybe slightly a little bit, but also there was just something about it I was not the biggest fan of. So there's that. Number 36 finds The World's End, which is the third of the Palmetto trilogy. I like the first two, and you'll hear about them sooner because I had heard about them, and I finally saw the first two this year as well. I'll talk about them a little bit later. But the last one, The World's End, just left me disappointed. It's an interesting concept. I mean, that's what the Palmetto series is a really good concept-wise, good story ideas. It's just The World's End just did not suit it for me. World's End is about a group of buddies from high school who have gone their own ways and are finally called back together by their slacker friend that says we need to finish the pub tour. We never got to finish the World's End pub tour. It's visit 12 pubs by a certain amount of time, and you'll get your name up on the wall, and it ends at the World's End, which is the name of the bar that it ends at. So he's able to convince his buddies to come join him, but there's a lot of tension between everybody. And as I said, the setup's decent, but then when you start throwing in what actually happens in the film, I'll give you just a slight touch on it. They discover the small town that they all grew up in, that they haven't been back to since, is a lot different than what they remember it. And there's something dark underlying in the town itself. Again, the concept is decent. It's just the way they did it, I just was not the biggest fan of it. So The World's End is number 36. Another disappointment, number 35, Heartbreakers. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sigourney Weaver, Gene Hackman, Ray Liotta, and Jason Lee. A pretty decent cast and an intriguing idea. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sigourney Weaver play mother-daughter con artists who the mother finds the richest men she can find, rich old men she can find, seduces them, convinces them to marry her, put her name in the will. Not the will, and convinces her to no, convinces them to lavish her with money, and then brings in Jennifer Love Hewitt, her daughter, to seduce him. And then when she catches them together, sues for divorce and takes everything that he has, or takes a big chunk of the money he has. So they can go on and move on to the next one. So they've been doing this for a while. Jennifer Love Hewitt's getting a little tired of doing it. And so they decide to do one last gig, going after Gene Hackman's character, who's absolutely disgusting character and causes all kinds of problems for them. And on top of that, Jennifer Love Hewitt meets a guy who is interested in her, and she's got to keep up the facade because she's interested in him, but keep up the facade that she's not. And then one of their old marks discovers the truth about them, is hunting them down to try to get their money back. On the surface, it's a great idea. And again, I love to give Jennifer Love Hewitt the benefit of the doubt. She's much more than her Jennifer Love huge tits, which is what everybody's calling her. And she was not really given. She was like the Sydney Sweeney of her era, except she did not really go all in like Sydney Sweeney's gone and done different genres of film. Jennifer Love Hewitt was sort of cornholed into the sexy sort of role. She tried a few different ones here and there, but they weren't quite successful. Kind of similar to what Sydney Sweeney does. She's tried different things. They aren't successful. But it would have been nice to see that. Sigourney Weaver is always great to see her and Gene Hackman and Ray Liotta play off each other. It was one of Ray Liotta's last. No, it wasn't, because he's been around. He died recently. So it was okay, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Number 34, I have these all over the place, finds the first theatrical film, the first new movie I saw in the movie theaters, Jurassic World Rebirth. Hugely disappointed in this film. The Jurassic Saga films have been hit or miss a lot of times for a lot of the movies. And this was kind of a rebirth to sort of reset the stage, but it's basically the same story over again. You get Scarlett Johansson comes in here and has to get some blood from certain dinosaurs to help for this cure for cancer or something like that. And they have to go to this island to get those dinosaurs. But of course, everything runs amok. There have been scientific experiments on them. They're mutated creatures. So they're mutated, which is a decent idea, but just it did not sit well for me. And then you throw in this annoying family that just happens to get caught in the crossfire that you spend half your movie following their bullshit quests as well. I found that to be ridiculous and stupid, but just another way to add more intensity and stuff like that. Just, it didn't work for me. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. That's number 34. 33, we find Idiocracy. Again, I was told how great this movie was. It's supremely underrated. Done by the guy who created Beavis and Butthead and did Office Space, which was outstanding. And basically, we are living in Idiocracy now. It takes about a guy who gets frozen and journeys to the future where idiots are in control of the White House, and everyone is stupid, and Luke Wilson is the only smart one, and he has to learn to navigate this world. I thought it would be a lot better than it was. It's okay. It has its moments, but again, maybe it's because it hits too close to home. I just was not the biggest fan of it. Office Space is miles better, so it's Beavis and Butthead. Number 32 is Zodiac, another film I was disappointed in. David Fincher's 3-hour epic about the Zodiac killings, featuring a stellar cast with Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo as the main actors in it. And they basically are doing a true crime movie about the Zodiac killings, which are one of the most intriguing true crime storylines out there. And those The aspects of the Zodiac killings themselves are done very, very well. The 1970s feel, that since that's when it's set, the way it's filmed is also very well as well. It just seemed overly long to me, and just certain. It just I was bored a little bit with it. I'm not the biggest fan of Jake Gyllenhaal either, and just I don't know. It just seemed not quite as good as I was expecting it. Again, that's just me. You're gonna find that a lot with a lot of these movies. Number 31, Beetlejuice, another film I was disappointed in. Tim Burton doing a at long last sequel to Beetlejuice, one of his best movies he ever made. Brings back pretty much the whole cast with Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara. And you add Jenna Ortega to it. Michael Keaton returns as Beetlejuice. And you add, I think, Monica Baccarin is in it as well. And you get what's his name? Jesus, the guy who played the Green Goblin. William. I hate when my mind doesn't work. Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is in it as well. The story just was not great. Just some throws in it too. Winona Ryder's character, who went through all that, is now a psychic sort of medium on television. She's set to marry Justin Theroux, who is just a douchebag asshole. Her and Catherine O'Hara, her stepmom, have reconciled after the death of her father and Catherine O'Hara's husband. Jenna Ortega has got the Winona Ryder depression down, where she's embarrassed that her mom is this psychic medium, and she talks about ghosts and all this stuff. And it just and Michael Keaton is fine as Beetlejuice. He always is. He's in the same amount of time as the original Beetlejuice, which is not very often. It just seemed like they were redoing a lot of the same shit. I will say this. They did try to make some differences and changes to make it a little bit different than the original film. Just not as much fun as the original film was. It didn't seem like there was a lot of fun in the film. But I will tell you this. The late, great Catherine O'Hara, the wonderful Catherine O'Hara, passed away earlier this year. She was the best part of this movie. Sorry, she was. Her character is miles different than what she was in the original Beetlejuice. And I think that's what sort of helped out a little bit. She's still kind of the crazy artist sort of type, but she's also now sort of this widower, living her life sort of thing. She has a reconcile with Lydia and enjoys being a grandmother, that type of stuff. And she's just still mourning the loss of her husband and wants to see him again and be with him again. So she gets a little bit kind of a suicidal tendencies towards herself, but she is absolutely phenomenal in this movie. She is the best part of this movie. The only reason to watch this movie, Willem Dafoe's character is okay, but he just seemed like he was supposed to be part of a completely different movie. He plays a police investigator in the ghost world who investigates ghost crimes. His character was a former actor who played a detective on a TV show. So basically, he's living the life of his TV show character in the afterlife. And it's kind of interesting. And then you throw in Beetlejuice's ex-wife, who's psychotic, Monica Bellucci, I think. Not Monica Baccarin. Who is fine, but not really well defined as well. And then you have Jenna Ortega's side story with a boy who she likes, but there's something hinky about him. It's just a lot of stuff that just didn't quite click for me. It's still decent, but it's one of those films that I can watch Beetlejuice over and over again. I really can't watch this one again. Maybe around Halloween, maybe I'll slide it on, but the only reason to watch this is Catherine O'Hara is absolutely fantastic in this movie. And Michael Keaton's always welcome to see stuff, but he's just, pretty much doing what he always does, which is fine. Number 30, I think might be a little too high because I think I actually liked it a little bit more, but I think they could have done a lot more with it than what they did. And I like the lead actress, Whiteout, and the storyline's a great idea too. Oh, I forgot to do Speed Demon. Shit, because it wasn't on the list. Damn it. Sorry, I just thought of something else. Another good idea for a film, based on a comic book written by Greg Rucka. Basically, the premise is, Antarctica is not controlled by any one country. It's run by scientists. They have various scientific, groups from different countries all over the continent, and they do have police officers who patrol, make sure that stuff is safe and stuff like that. But it's more along the lines of if there's emergencies, health-wise emergencies, or power emergencies, or stuff like that, or something, God forbid, bad does happen. They do have a presence there. So there's about 3 days left before everybody has to leave the facility before the long, dark winter of their discontent rolls upon Antarctica. So the labs are getting busy and prepping and moving out there. And Kate Beckinsale, who's the main character in it, she's finally getting ready to go back home and live it up in Florida, live in the sun for a long time. She's been on Antarctica for a long time. I think she spent a couple winters down there. She's ready to just get out of there and just start her life back out of the Antarctic world. But of course, 3 days before all this is supposed to go down, a body is discovered out in a little bit of ways away from the camp. And being the police officer, she's got to investigate it, which pisses her off because she knows it's going to take her a while to figure out what's going to happen. And she ends up getting involved in a mystery that gets even deeper than she expected. It's a great premise again, just the movie just seemed kind of a little dull and lackadaisical. Kate Beckinsale is always great to look at. She's fantastic in this as well and great to look at. And a decent supporting cast and a great sort of setting and a great idea. It's just, it didn't quite win me over. That was number 30. Number 29. Let's see if I can find it here. Where are you, 29? There you are. The Phoenician Scheme, which I saw in movie theaters. I'd never seen any of, what's the director's name? I hate not being prepared, but that's just who I am. It's Wes Anderson, right? Yep, Wes Anderson. The ads for this movie were really interesting, and it has an interesting cast involved with it. Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks are added to the cast as well. And it looked interesting. Michael Cera's in there too. And intriguing. Wes Anderson has a definitive way of how he does his set, stuff like that. So I actually went out and watched the movie theater, and it was okay. It had its moments, and the art direction was phenomenal, and Benicio del Toro was fantastic. It just was, I don't know, a little out there for me. Still enjoyed it, but it's one of those like, oh, okay, it's fine, but it's not, oh my God, this movie's so good sort of thing. 28, excuse me, drops. Where are you? There you are. Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, which is another one that disappointed me. I've been hearing how good this movie was and how realistic it was, which it is. I'll give it that. It's very realistic. Russell Crowe, Paul Bettany, the guy who directed Dead Poets Society and The Truman Show, directed this as well. It's very authentic, based on a series of novels, but it's just really long, and it's a little bit boring also. And there's only so much you can take of a ship sailing during and the time frame's great as well, during like the 1800s, where ships were in control of the roadways and you don't know everything that's going on. And just the stuff that happened, the deaths and the destruction of the ship, and them trying to find their way back, and people getting injured and sick and not enough food. And it's a realistic, and that might be why I don't like it. It's a very realistic take on what life was like on those ships, and is not a romantic version of what being on those ships is like, because it wasn't a romantic version of it. Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany do a fine job as the two leads. The cast, the ensemble cast, is good as well. The setting, everything was great. It's just the movie was boring to me. Not entertaining, not a lot of fun, but historically accurate, and just wish for maybe a better storyline. It just seemed to go on forever also, and it's another long one. So not my favorite, but not terrible, if you know what I mean. Number 27, another one that sort of disappointed me. The Ghost in the Darkness, also based on a true story. Val Kilmer, Michael Douglas, also set in the early 20th century, like 1910, 1912, something like that, about a guy who's going to build a bridge in Africa, but his crew keeps getting attacked by these two lions that are absolutely decimating them and killing them and threatening them. And he's getting pressure to get this bridge built due to the war coming or whatever, something like that. So they need to get it done. He hasn't seen his wife and kid in a while, so he's got all this pressure on him to get this stuff done. And these lions are just making it a whole lot worse. So he ends up hiring a hunter, played by Michael Douglas, who knows about them, to help him hunt these guys down. And it becomes sort of Jaws in the desert as these two guys go on a hunt to try to stop these two killer lions. Based on a true story, again, visually really cool. Great performances by Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. But again, the movie was a little bit boring for me. And maybe it could be because a lot of these movies I watched during my week-long vacation on July 4th week last year, and I was watching 6-7 movies a day, and maybe I was getting tired, maybe things were just, but there were a lot of movies that I liked that I saw. A lot of the ones that are high up on the list are ones I saw during this week, so it's not entirely all about that. It's just what maybe I had in my head did not, and what I've heard from other people did not resonate with me. And I've always been a little bit different when it comes to filmmakers and film pundits and critics and stuff like that. So it is what it is. It's still decent, and it's a good Val Kilmer movie. I think I did list of Val Kilmer's stuff last year when he died. List of his stuff. It's up there. I don't know, probably in the top 10, but at the later half of it. He's had a whole bunch of other really better performances than that, but still a decent one. And again, historical, which was decent. All right, number 26. Where are you? There you are. The live action Charlotte's Web. I love the original cartoon Charlotte's Web. I read the book by E.B. White when I was younger and also read it in college. I actually did a course called Jesus in Literature and Film, and my final project was to write a paper about one of the books that she listed that has Jesus motifs in it. And one of them was Charlotte's Web. It was the easiest one to read because I had to do it within a week, and all the other ones were big. Blade Runner's Android's Dream of Electric Sheep was in there as well. So that's sort of the kind of books that she was putting out there. So I picked Charlotte's Web and reread Charlotte's Web, watched the movie, and was able to look at it from the perspective of the Jesus motifs, and was able to pull out a whole bunch of them in the book, and got an A+ on my paper because I did a really good job of bringing them up to date. So I'm very proud of that paper. It was one of the last finals I ever did in my college career, and I was very proud of it. So I always had a soft spot for Charlotte's Web. Now, I knew they did the live action version of it years ago, and I never got around to watching it till July 4th. Actually, I watched it July 4th last year, and it was fine. It's what you expected. You had famous actors voice the animals. The animals' storylines are a little bit different than they are in the books and the cartoon, but visually it was fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's why it's number 26. It's not terrible, but it's fine. 25. This one I'm going to get a lot of heat on. My number 25 is Heat, the Michael Mann 3-hour plus epic. Val Kilmer makes another appearance here again with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and has a decent, has probably one of the best scenes. And I will admit it was one of the best scenes I'd ever watched between Pacino and De Niro at a restaurant, a cafe, diner sort of thing. Still one of the best, but the movie was so freaking long. And yes, I get it. They were trying to, they had this cat and mouse game between this top criminal and this top police officer. And they had their own issue going on. But then you looked at the personal lives of these characters and how it was being affected by this stuff. And you even throw Val Kilmer's character in there as well. And it got to be a lot, too much. Again, it was a 3-hour plus movie. I was maybe in the right mindset. I watched it right after Tenet. And it was another Tenet's almost 3-hour movie. Heat's a 3-hour movie, and it seemed awfully long to me, and it was just not as good as I thought it would be. Everybody talked about how great it was. I don't know. I enjoyed it enough, but it did not resonate with me as much as it did other people, and that's on me. I mean, again, this is my opinion on stuff. You don't have to agree with me. You could think that Heat would be your number one. That's fine. But you do your own list. This is my list. And I put Heat at number 25. Now, again, I forgot to do this disclaimer. When I do these list shows, these are my opinions. They're not your opinions. It's my opinion. And it's not a solid list. It's a fluid list. In this case, it's kind of solid because these are the films I watched for the first time in 2025. But the numbers, if I rewatch them again, the rankings could change if I watch it again, like say on a weekend, one night was the only movie I watch or something like that, or someone I watch with somebody, or I feel in the mood to watch it. It might change my mind if I did this list sort of again. But in this case, that's what it is. Number 24 is Prey, another movie that I was disappointed in. Some heard about how great it was, how it redid the Predator franchise, which it did, and it was a great idea, setting the story in the old times before any real, before any sort of Manifest Destiny got out, and it was focused on a Native American young girl who has to deal with a young predator who has been wiping out members of her tribe, as well as other stuff also, done in the language of her people. So you had to read the subtitles, which I have no problem with. The story just, again, the story just dragged a little bit for me. Did not resonate with me as much as I was hoping for. I think Predator Badlands might be a better movie. I haven't seen it yet. That'll probably make its way onto this list next year if I do one. I'm definitely going to check out Predator Badlands sometime this year, I think. I'm hoping for another July 4th week off, but my daughter's throwing a kink and things. I know my son and wife are going to be away for that week, but my daughter is not going to go back to her camp, so she might either be working with me at my job, so I'd have to take her in, or she'll be there anyway, so I won't be able to just sort of be by myself and watch these films. I still might be able to, have decided yet, we'll make up our mind, but I hope to see Predator Badlands eventually down the line. But Prey just seemed like it was such a great idea, and it was fine. Again, it was fine, but just not. It didn't. I think it was overrated a little bit. It's a great idea, and to wait so long to actually get a copy of it and watch it, it kind of frustrated me also. Still decent, but I'm not sure if it was I kind of want to see that other, I think I kind of see that one, Predators, I think, which is the one where they have the people on their planet getting hunted. I think that might be better than this one. But the fact that you said it during a olden days before Manifest Destiny with a Native American lead, speaking their own language, was phenomenal, great idea. But the story just was not as good for me as for others. Number 23, War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg version of it with Tom Cruise. I don't know what made me decide to watch this. I think I saw some reels once, and it was one Spielberg movie I really haven't Spielberg's one of my favorite directors, and I tried to watch all this stuff, but there's a lot of movies of his that I have not seen, particularly in the later half of his career. And this was one of them. I'd never seen any of his Tom Cruise movies. I still haven't seen Minority Report, and I want to see that eventually as well. But this one was a new adaptation of War of the Worlds. It was the last time Spielberg did an alien movie. It was the last time he worked with Tom Cruise. And it's fine. Again, that seems to be the word here. It's fine. It was entertaining. I watched it on a weekend when I watched one other movie, I think. So it wasn't like I think I watched The Martian, so something like that. So it wasn't during my July 4th week. This was a completely different. It's like in the fall sometime. I watched it when my daughter was in college and my wife and son were camping. I think I watched it, and my kitty was on my lap, and he didn't like it very much. But that's just him. But it was fine. It was good effects, interesting storyline. Followed pretty much the H.G. Wells story, but there were just a little bit slight differences. Again, it was fine. It was okay. Tom Cruise, doing Tom Cruise stuff, playing not a great person as he usually does, but he learns sort of to become a better person during this. But there's really no moment of aha, sort of where he changes completely, sort of thing. So it was fine. 22. Captain America Brave New World was another one I saw in the movie theaters. This movie, to me, gets a lot of hate that's unwarranted, undeserved. I'm mad at it because there's supposed to be a whole Serpent Society storyline, which is one of my favorite characters, but they basically deleted most of that out in favor of a different storyline. It was great bringing Harrison Ford in as Thunderbolt Ross, take place of William Hurt, who passed away, and get Red Hulk out there, and to see Sam do his own Captain America movie, which I thought was great, with his own Falcon. And it proved to me that he could do Captain America. He even gets Sebastian Stan had a cameo in it as well. And it was fine. It was great. I thought it was, I think he gets a lot more hate than it deserves. It's not Chris Evans. And you know what? That's just one of these, just why I'm pissed off about Doomsday, is that you have Chris Evans come back. It's like, you already have a Captain America. You don't need to keep going back to the well, Marvel. I know it's your favorite thing with that and the casting of Downey as Doom, which I think is another stupid move. You have a good Captain America replacement here. And I think people were just bitching about it just to bitch about it because they don't like Marvel for some reason now. And I thought it was fine. It's good. It'll have a better position on my MCU list when I do one of those, or when I eventually get around to my show where I'm going to break down the entire MCU, because it gets a lot of unneeded hate for a lot of these movies that people who claim to be fans are bitching about, which pisses me off. This movie does not deserve it, but the reason why it's 22 is because there are 21 other movies I liked better. But that doesn't mean this movie was terrible. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fine. I understood the story. I get kind of where the stories of the rewrites came in. It covered a lot of ground. It gave us a lot of closure on stuff that's been sitting out there, brought us a great villain in the leader, which everybody said was shitty. He was fantastic. I thought it was a great character. And I don't understand the people's hate on this. It's a really good movie and more entertaining than you think it would be. I need to check it out again because I really enjoyed it a lot. And it's just, there are 21 other movies I like better. Actually, I think I probably could have switched it with a couple on this list, which is where I said this list is fluid. I would probably, if I did this again next year, I would probably move Captain America Brave New World around to a different location, maybe up to 19 or 18 or something like that. It's a good movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to check it out. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's fast, and it's good. I liked it. I liked 21 other movies ahead of it. And you'll see those movies in a little bit. But I really enjoyed it. There's nothing wrong with this movie. And it's one of all the ones I've talked about so far. This is the first one I probably would not mind going back and revisiting again. All the other ones I talked about, I've seen them. They're one and done. I'm over with. Maybe Charlotte's Web is another one where I might do that again. But I have the cartoon, which I love a million times more than the live action version. I'd probably just end up watching that instead. So yeah, so this is has the point where at this point from now on, with the exception of maybe one or two movies on the list ahead of it, but they're up there because I like the storyline and stuff better. Um, this movie is one of those where I think I would not mind rewatching it again, and I probably will whenever I get off my ass to do my MCU stuff. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it yet, please do. It's a great movie. And that's the thing is a lot of stuff that's been happening lately is a lot of the Marvel movies that gets a lot of unwarranted hate. The Marvels, Quantumania, Eternal, stuff like that. People who and She-Hulk of the TV show, people bitch and moan about it. Eventually they say, oh, fuck, I'm just go ahead and watch it. And they do. And they're like, oh, shit, this is actually a pretty damn good movie. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. You should have checked it out sooner, you dumbass. Number 22 is Captain America Brave New World. So number 21, sort of versus what I just said. I had heard bad things about this movie and no desire to really see it. But then a small sort of cult following came behind it, said how good it was and how underrated it was. I saw some reels on it. I was like, okay, let me just check this out. I bought the Blu-ray. It was the first movie I watched to kick off my July 4th week of movies. And I loved it. Again, it's number 21 because it's a lot to take in, but it is hugely underrated. And it's not as bad as you think it is. It's Speed Racer, the live action version of Speed Racer. Actually, a really brilliant movie. One of the best live action adaptations of a manga I've ever seen before, or kids' cartoon. Great casting. The Wachowskis did a fantastic job with the set design and the racing and the storyline. It's a dopey, goofy storyline, which is what Speed Racer is. Much like how Popeye the Musical is. Popeye the Musical is not one of people's favorite musicals, is one of my favorites because it's so goofy and it's so silly, because that's what the original stuff is about. The original Popeye cartoons are goofy and silly. And Speed Racer, the original ones are goofy and silly. Hell, one of the lead characters in Speed Racer is a monkey, and he's in this movie. And a little bratty boy who's also in this movie as well. And it's a fantastic movie. Great set design, great costumes, great cast. Christina Ricci, John Goodman, just to name a few. Matthew Fox, just name a few of the characters in it. It's a phenomenal movie. It is visually stunning. It is outstanding. Is another one that I need to check out again. It just made its way into the movie theaters. Re-released last weekend, I think. It did not show up in my theater, but whatever. But a really good movie. Again, much like with Captain America Brave New World, it's low on the list because I liked a bunch of other movies better. Now, looking at my list now, I think I probably would have changed a few other ones now. But that's what it is. It's a great movie. You should absolutely check it out. It is visually stunning, and just gotta roll with it. It's goofy as hell, but it's supposed to be, and it's gets a lot of unwarranted hate. Number 20 is The Iron Giant. Again, another movie I was kind of disappointed in. I'd heard how great it was, but I never actually sit down and watch it. And I finally did, and it was fine. I probably would have put this back maybe around 22, probably. Now I think about it on retrospect, but still, it's got exactly what you need in it. It's got an emotional kick to it. Brad Bird does a fantastic job with it. It was done outside of the Disney DreamWorks system. That's why it didn't do too well. Warner Brothers, I think, was the one that did it. And it's got a decent cast, but again, wonderful animation, but just the story drug a little bit for me. So it wasn't quite as brilliant a film as everybody claims it to be, but it's still really, really good movie. A really, really, really good movie, and I'm glad I finally could sit down and watch it. And it's one that I also highly recommend if you haven't seen it yet to go ahead and do it. Number 19 is Lincoln, Steven Spielberg's massive story about Lincoln. It's not a biopic. It is a portion in history that covers an adaptation of the book is basically how Lincoln to keep himself grounded during the Civil War, had a bipartisan group of people in his cabinet that sort of had to bounce off each other, ideas off each other, and try to figure out a way to accommodate each other. And team of rivals, I think that's what it was, and worked for the greater good of Americans to try to keep fighting the Civil War, try to get the United States back together again. And it details the creation of the amendment that gets rid of slavery. It's Daniel Day-Lewis does a fantastic job, got a great Oscar nomination for it. Tommy Lee Jones is great, Sally Field, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, just a wonderful cast in it as well. Perfect set designs, old school Washington, D.C. in the 1860s, and a really good biopic of Lincoln. I haven't seen a really good one in a really long time. In retrospect now, I probably would have moved it up to like 21, 20 as well, but it's still entertaining. It's also really long. Another one that's really long. I watched this on 4th of July also. So that was kind of, I think it was 4th of July. I'm pretty sure it was 4th of July. Let me check Letterboxd. I'm pretty sure it was 4th of July when I watched this. Yep, July 4th. Yeah, Charlotte's Web I watched July 3rd. All right. July 4th I watched Lincoln, The Rocketeer, and Big Fish. Did I watch Heat? Oh, July 3rd. Okay. Yeah, that was bad. I had Back to the Future was great on July 3rd, and then Zodiac, meh, Idiocracy, meh, Heat, meh, and then I watched my Just Like Heaven and Charlotte's Web on the 3rd. So yeah, it's a great bit there. So, but it's a really good not really biopic, a really good bit of Lincoln history. A very good historical film. Number 19 is Lincoln. Number 18. A Minecraft movie, which I saw in the movie theaters with my son. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. My son wanted to go see it, so I figured I would go with him to go see it. And I was intrigued by the commercials I seen for it. Jason Momoa, Jack Black, Emma, Chris's. I forget Chris's. Shit. Anyway, so I enjoyed the Minecraft movie immensely. I thought it was very well done, very entertaining, a good adaptation of the video game. I think they've been doing a really good job of adapting video games, and this is a decent one. It was a lot of fun, visually really cool. Jennifer Coolidge also is in it as well. God damn it. I hate when I have these brain farts. I worked with her uncle, I guess, at Diamond, and I cannot for the life of me think of his last name. Myers. Okay, Emma Myers. Okay. Man, Chris Myers, yes. Losing my mind here. But Minecraft movie was very, very good. Enjoyed it immensely. Jason Momoa, like he was having a blast doing it. Jack Black always does a great job with it as well. So a lot of fun, and glad that it did as well as it did. And we're getting a sequel. Can't wait to see that. Number 17 is K-Pop Demon Hunters, my wife's favorite movie of the year, Oscar-winning Best Animated Film of the Year. It's really, really good, despite what the haters said. It does have a cliched storyline in it, but the music is phenomenal. The artwork is a lot of fun. The characters are interesting. And it was a fun romp. It's a good one. My wife absolutely adored it. She's watched it 4 times, I think, this year alone. She loved it, and I liked it too. I will get the Criterion Collection Blu-ray when it comes out for her, and I will maybe pop in and watch it periodically when I want to. Definitely worthwhile. Definitely the best animated film of the year. I enjoyed it a lot. I think you would too if you haven't seen it. Ignore the hate again. Check it out for yourself. Number 16 was Shaun of the Dead, the first of the Palmetto Trio. This one is a zombie film, zombie comedy that has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's comedy, sometimes it's pure drama, sometimes it's horror, but there's a lot of comedy in it. It's about a bunch of slackers who discover they're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and they have to try to find their way to safety, even though there's really not a lot to go with. And there's just a lot of interesting characters, a lot of interesting stuff happens, and the ending does not end how you think or expect it to end, and surprises the heck out of you. Number 15 is Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal and crew. In their first version of the MCU, a visually stunning film, also a good intro to the characters, liked the storyline, a good version of Galactus and their version of the Silver Surfer and Shalla-Bal, which is a great character, and just a really fun, entertaining, great MCU film, very Incredibles-esque looking. But I like the set design. I like the weird sort of futuristic 1920s sort of feel to it. I really, again, I can't keep saying it over and over again. It was a lot of fun. It's one I need to probably recheck out on again. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the movie theaters again, but it might be a fun one to relook at. But it was fun. It was entertaining, and I liked it. Number 14 is Chicago, the film version of the musical. I'd never seen the musical before in any form before, and last year, 2025, I saw it multiple times. First watched the movie, which was phenomenal. Richard Gere, and the like. I can't remember the other actresses in it. Gorgeous set design. John C. Reilly was in it also. The music, the songs are great. The setups for the songs, the dancing, the choreography. There's a great song where Richard Gere's character, who's a lawyer, is getting ready to do his sort of spiel, and they have him in a suit that's covered entirely in like reflective stones and like diamonds, stuff like that. So when the light reflects on them, he's just nothing but light coming off of him and color and the different stuff that he spins around. It is really, really a fascinating, really cool version of that. So we had that. And then my daughter did, her high school did a version of that show for her senior year, which she worked on. And then we went to see it at the Hippodrome, which was really, really cool too, to see it live. They were all different. They were all good. But the film is visually stunning. The music is fantastic. Renee Zellweger is the other one. And also Mrs. Michael Douglas. I can't think of her name yet. It was in the Zorro movies with Antonio Banderas. But it was fantastic. A lot of fun. Chicago is number 14. Number 13 was Shin Godzilla, which I saw with my son in the movie theater. I had never seen Shin Godzilla. It was a re-release, and my son wanted to see it. So I was going in blind. Didn't know what Shin Godzilla was. And then I was surprised about what I saw. The film basically starts right away, grabs you by the neck, and does not let go till the end of the movie. It's set up as almost like a found footage, not really found footage, but it's sort of a national emergency happens at the very beginning of the movie. And you spend a lot of time before you even see Godzilla. You spend a lot of time on what the governments of Japan and the cities in the area, what they would do when an emergency like this. So basically, you're seeing like a real time emergency. So an emergency gets called in. You see what the police officers do, how they close off the area, how they get boats out there, how how they're going to introduce it to the people via speeches and press conferences, stuff like that. You see the closed door stuff saying, what are we going to do? What do we know? It's bam, bam, bam. It's ER almost, bam, 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 fast, 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 boom, boom, boom. And time goes by so fast. This happens, 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 this happens. It's like bam, 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 bam. It's phenomenal. And then Godzilla makes his appearance. And you're looking at this Godzilla. You're like, this doesn't look like Godzilla. It's this creepy little like reptile thing. And what you learn is this version of Godzilla mutates very quickly, and you see him mutate or evolve from when he first appears to forms into the fully formed Godzilla that we know by the end of the movie that they have to deal with. And that's what the whole movie is about. It's just bam, 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 boom, boom, boom. What do we know? What do we got? There's attacks in there, the different versions of Godzilla. Boom, this one attacks them and then runs away. Say, okay, what do we learn about this? What can we do to stop it? Okay, let's do this, stop it. Oh, wait, he's evolved into something else. Now he has firepower. Oh, no, my God, what are we going to do? So we got to figure out how to do that. So blah, blah, blah. It's just you get behind the scenes stuff about what the government's doing, and then you actually see what Godzilla is doing. You see how other random people are affected by it. It's a amazing film and just blows your mind away. And it's a mutating, evolving Godzilla is something never happened before. And that's what makes, Toho and the Japanese versions of Godzilla so good, is that there's so many different versions of Godzilla, but they're all different. Godzilla -1 was completely different than the Godzilla 1954 and Shin Godzilla, and then the Godzillas we see, in the 70s and 80s, and then the MonsterVerse Godzillas. They're all different because they all have different storylines. They're all alternate reality versions of Godzilla, and Japan does such a great job of creating new versions of Godzilla to keep the story fresh, and Shin Godzilla is one of those. Number 13, phenomenal movie. Number 12 was Wake Up Dead Man, the most recent Benoit Blanc movie. Those movies are spectacular. This one is a bit more religious aspects to it. Again, another star-studded cast. Storyline was okay. I still like the original one, obviously, but it's still an entertaining film. Fun to watch, and a very religious aspect. It might be one of these to check out during Easter, actually. Would probably be one of those sort of, films to watch around Easter or to post around Easter to watch. So Wake Up Dead Man, decent film, number 12. Number 11, the sequel comes out on Friday, The Devil Wears Prada. I'd never seen it before. Absolutely adored it. Loved Anne Hathaway. I love Anne Hathaway. Loved Emily Blunt. Loved Meryl. Loved Stanley Tucci. Hated Anne Hathaway's boyfriend, as everyone should have. And again, it's sort of a cliche sort of story. You get it. She's a young, wet behind the ears journalist trying to make a name for herself. Gets a job at a fashion magazine as a stepping stone to get an actual journalist job, and ends up being nothing more than sort of a lackey who gets picked on and berated by her boss. But eventually she begins to adapt with the help of certain people and herself, and eventually becomes one of her trusted associates, though she still doesn't like her completely. But then she has her own life issues that come into play as well. It's number 11 because I despised her boyfriend. I despised that storyline. I despised the storyline about the literary guy that helped her out with the J.K. Rowling thing and his sort of thing. But that's why I'm kind of excited about Devil Wears Prada 2, because those assholes are nowhere to be seen in it, and we get a different take on it. And it also looks like that Meryl's character might be suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, which could be really, really good. She has it's a really good idea for a story. It looks like Emily Blunt's going to be able to play a bigger role in it. Stanley Tucci is always wonderful in it. Meryl is Meryl. She's fantastic. I love this movie. I think I'm going to like the sequel more than the original one, to be honest. I just have that feeling. I'll find out on Friday, and I'll let you know on my show, Dylan Knows, on Saturday. I just have a feeling I'm going to like the sequel better, but the first original one is still decent to watch. Again, a little bit cliched, but the cast itself is phenomenal, and the fashions are amazing, and it's a lot of fun. Number 10 is the middle version of the Palmetto Trio, Hot Fuzz, which to me is the best one of the trilogy. A great take on action films and small town mystery sort of things. A big city police officer who is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and keeps the big city clean, and as the crime is low. But because crime is low and he gets bored, he starts looking inward and realizes that the police department has a lot of issues internally as well, and so they don't want to get busted for that, so they send him to this small country town. That's sort of like a retirement thing. Hey, you worked your butt off for us. You've you've done a good job of keeping crime off the streets, stuff like that. Why don't you go sort of take a relaxing job here in this wonderful country town? We don't have to worry about anything. You can chill, relax. The worst thing you have to deal with is like horse issues or neighbor issues like that. And for a while, that's what it is. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody likes him. He's got the big city sort of thing. They listen to his stories, but he gets really, really bored because there's nothing going on. And eventually he uncovers a dark secret to the small town and ends up having to figure out a way to solve the crime, because he's the only one that wants to solve this crime, because it's keeping this town quiet and safe, and he's trying to just make sure that doesn't make sure that the crime pays, even if that might disrupt the quiet that is the small town. It's a phenomenal movie. It's outstanding. It's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Probably the most fully formed version of the Palmetto Trio trilogy, and I liked it a lot. That was number 10. Number 9, believe it or not, I really enjoyed this movie. Saturday Night. I love this type of movie where you get sort of, it's a real-time version of what happened before the first episode of Saturday Night Live came out. Debuted 50 years, actually came out 49 years of the 49th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. But it shows how crazy the first episode was leading up to that, because no one ever done anything like this before. It wasn't the steamroller that it is now. You had all a bunch of these young actors who eventually went on to have huge careers that you didn't know nothing about, and just all the stuff that happened behind the scenes. I love these types of movies. Great cast, wonderful direction, and just fantastic boom, 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 real time sort of storyline, which based on a pop culture event is really, really brilliant. Number 8 surprised the heck of me. I thought that the Iron Giant would be more like this, but I really enjoyed this one. This is The Wild Robot from DreamWorks. I saw this on Netflix. It was great. It's a amazing movie about a robot from another planet or whatever that lands in a wooded area and discovers having to take care of the wooded areas, and a family starts, becomes part of a family, and having to deal with the different animals in the situation here. And then once they're ensconced completely in the family aspect of the village, then the people are coming back to retrieve the robot and cause more issues for the family. And the robot has to try to save them. It is just as sad and tear-jerking as the Iron Giant. It's a lot more fun than the Iron Giant. I know that's blasphemy, but that's why Wild Robot's number 8, Iron Giant's 20. I still like the Iron Giant, don't get me wrong, but the Wild Robot to me is the better film. I enjoyed it a lot, and I cannot wait to see it again. Sequel coming. Can't wait to see what they end up doing with that. Number 7 is Across the Spider-Verse. I can't believe I put this off for so long to see the sequel to the Spider-Verse movies. My daughter had seen it when it first came out twice, and she absolutely loves the film. I just, for whatever reason, because of the length, 2.5 hours long, just never got around to it. I finally sat down, I watched it. I loved it. Didn't like it as much as the first one because of the story aspect. They were treating Miles much more harshly and worse than they were in the first one. They're more introduction to more Spider-Man characters. Still a great storyline. The Spot is still a character that is kind of not Kingpin-esque as a good bad guy, or the female Dr. Octopus. Still decent, but a good alternate reality animated film. I did like it a lot, immensely. I mean, it's number 7. I really did enjoy it. It's just there's a lot to it, a lot. 2.5 hours, you get a lot thrown at you, and some of it's not. And a lot of it is just me feeling bad for Miles about the way he's being treated and what his situation is. Dying to see the third part, which I think is coming out next year in June, I think. So, looking forward to that. So I like that a lot. Number 7, Across the Spider-Verse, which surprised me because I probably should flip these two, but I liked number 6, Meet the Robinsons, a lot more than I did Across the Spider-Verse. I had seen the videos for it, the reels of the video for the main song is fantastic, one of my favorite songs of all time. And I actually finally sat down to see it, and it's the reverse Back to the Future. And I love that. I love the story idea. I love the animation style. I thought it was a really well done film, very not breaking, but just a very heartfelt film. Great storyline. A good bad guy that makes sense why they're being bad, and it's not entirely their fault, and just a really good connection. As I said, a reverse Back to the Future. I thought it was just a wonderful idea, and I cannot wait to see the movie again. I really liked it a lot. That's why it's number 6. Number 5 brings in the Adam Project. I like this a whole lot more than I thought I would. Sean Levy directed for the second time, Ryan Reynolds. This time he also brings in the guy who plays Percy Jackson. Can't think of his name right now. No, not the film. Jackson TV. Walker Scobell, who is a dead ringer for Ryan Reynolds and was able to get his inflections and his sarcasm down to play a younger version of Ryan Reynolds' character. You also got a whole Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner reteaming after 13 going on 30, and a really great storyline. The actress who played, I can't think of her name either, in Guardians of the Galaxy. And was in Zoe Saldana. She's in this as well. Again, a good time travel story. I want to see this one again also. Adam Project is fantastic. Walker Scobell is a young boy who just lost his dad, played by Mark Ruffalo, to cancer or something like that. Jennifer Garner is his mom. She's getting ready to try to start dating again, but he's having issues at school, lashing out or whatever. And then one night when she goes on a date and leaves him by himself, a mysterious stranger comes into his house, played by Ryan Reynolds, who turns out, spoiler alert, but this happens early on in the film, so it's the whole gist of the film. Turns out to be the future version of Walker Scobell's character, who's been sent back in time to try to stop the horribleness that happens in his future. And it goes on from there. It's fun, exciting. It's up there with Free Guy, which I thought was a great film also. I think the Adam Project's a bit more action-oriented sci-fi than Free Guy is, but watching Free Guy and Adam Project back-to-back is a great idea. I guess sort of Deadpool and Wolverine there. It's a little bit different storyline, but you get yourself a nice trilogy with Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds. And I think they're doing another one after that as well. But I think the Adam Project is fantastic. It's another movie I want to see again. Haven't seen it in a while, but I really am kind of dying to see it again because I really, really liked it a lot. Well worth it. Number 4, I saw in the movie theaters. Of course, I did because it's Thunderbolts, one of the best MCU movies of all time. Florence Pugh absolutely rules the movie. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in it. I just said his name. Not Paxton, Bill. God damn it. Pullman, Lewis Pullman. We also got the Kurt Russell. Wyatt Russell is in there as well. So you get a bunch of the disparate characters from various Marvel MCU movies teaming up together as Thunderbolts. David Harbour's in there as well. Sebastian Stan's, and you got a great MCU tight knit intro sort of movie that you don't really have. That's not really connected to the MCU as a whole, but has some little aspects here and there. But the movie itself, you don't need to enjoy the rest of the MCU to understand. They pretty much, you might have to because that's where these characters are first introduced. But they do a pretty good job of getting people caught up to speed. Florence Pugh absolutely steals this movie from everybody. It's phenomenal, and it's such a great diatribe on depression and acceptance and stuff like that. It's a wonderful movie. Another one I need to see here again. A movie that should have done a whole lot better at the box office, but people are stupid. Same thing. We'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus. It's going to be on about a month, and then they're like, "Oh my god, why didn't I see this in the movie theaters?" Because you're stupid. That's why. It's a great movie. Probably my favorite Marvel movie of the year. It's great. It was great, and I cannot talk enough about it. Thunderbolts number 4. Number 3 is Sinners. I did not like it as much as everybody else in the world seemed to. Everybody else probably put it at number 1. I still liked it a lot. I have seen it again for a second time, and it's still entertaining. It's still a great movie, a great musical. Great visuals by Ryan Coogler. Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar for Best Actor, as he absolutely should have, because he did a phenomenal job as the twins. Great cast in it as well. And even the vampire aspect wasn't too bad. It's I don't know what else I can say about Sinners. Sinners is a great movie. Deserved all the accolades that it received and that it got. And it's just, I liked a couple other movies better than Sinners. I did not think it was the greatest movie of the year. Again, this is just my opinion, but it's up there. That's why it's number 3, which is a pretty decent spot to be in. And there we go. Number 2 is, of course, Superman. Saw that in the movie theaters. A brand new take on Superman by James Gunn. Finally wiped the disgusting aftertaste of the Zack Snyder verse with the brand new Superman. Did phenomenally well. Introduced a whole universe that you didn't need to see every movie from the beginning from. Everything was already set in place. Guy Gardner's introduced, the Hawk Girl, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Lois, all the everything was already introduced. You just want to go see an entertaining film, and that's what made it so great. Everyone knows the characters. If you don't know the characters, they did a pretty good job of introducing who they were. Just a great film in general. Wonderful, upbeat. It's a bit of a slog there for a while because it feels like everything is going badly for Superman, that there's no good happening in the world, but it all turns on a dime and ends up where it should be. It's still a great movie. A lot of good stuff. A really brilliant version of Superman. Krypto steals the movie. A great version of the Kents. Just everything about it was good, and I can't wait to see the sequel, which will be out next year. They're currently filming it right now. And then Supergirl coming up in June is another plus on this. Great start to James Gunn's DCU, and fuck you, Zack Snyder, bro fans. This was the better movie than Man of Steel bullshit was. So fantastic. This is who Superman should be and always has been, and your boy fucked it up. Number 1, might be a surprise to everybody, but I've seen this movie now 2 more times since I saw it in the movie theaters. Still love the movie. Still want to watch it again and again. It's going to slowly become one of my comfort films. It's The Life of Chuck. To me, The Life of Chuck was the best movie of last year, the best movie I saw last year. As I said, I've already seen it 2 times already. I saw it one more time last year. I saw it once earlier this year. I'm probably going to see it again later this year sometime. So I do my July 4th movie week again. I will probably pop it in there sometime as well. It's such a great movie. And it's an odd little movie, because it's 3 different movies compressed into one movie that has a connective thread to it. And once you discover the connective thread, you're like, oh, that's why you kind of need to see it again to understand what's going on. But it's fairly pretty much spelled out for you what you're actually watching. It starts off the beginning of the end. It's at the end of the beginning. So the end is at the beginning. So the third part of the movie is at the first part of the movie. See Chiwetel Ejiofor and God, again, can't think of her name, was Doctor Who. Karen Gillan, Matthew Lillard, Saida Ukolona, all these people were in the first part of the movie, where the world seems to be falling apart. Massive earthquakes, wildfires, massive storms, the internet goes down, airplane crashes, car accidents, sinkholes. It's the end of the world. And through the eyes of all the people in the small town, they're trying to figure out what's happening and what they need to do, and what happens when you're faced with the potential to the end of the world and the stuff that you have to deal with. And then there's just this whole other sort of weird sort of Twilight Zone sort of thing with this Chuck figure showing up everywhere, and strange lights in the sky and strange sound. It is just the end of the world is amazing in this one. And then it cuts to part two, where we see Tom Hiddleston basically walking into this small little seaside little shopping area, and then starts dancing to a drummer who is drumming on the side just to make a little extra money on the side, and pulls in a woman who just got dumped by her boyfriend, and they just dance. And then after they just do the dance sequence, they sit down and they talk about why that happened and where that is. And you have Nick Offerman narrating it, who's got the great voice to it. And it's the quickest part of the movie, and it's the weirdest one, believe it or not, because it's just, okay, Tom Hiddleston is labeled as the star, and he just pops up really a little bit at the end bit, and then is the main part of the middle bit, which is just a dance sequence, really. And then we jump to the first part of the story, which shows Tom Hiddleston's character as a child and what happened when his parents died and he had to live with his grandparents, played by Mark Hamill and Mia Sara, and how Mia Sara's grandmother taught him how to appreciate dance, and how he goes to elementary school and takes up a dance club there and finds himself, but then his grandfather is trying to bring him down to reality. So you have to be an accountant in order to make money. You can't make money dancing. And then there's in their house, there's a weird cupola, which is padlocked, which Mark Hamill keeps padlocked, which is finding Chuck obsessed with it to figure out what's in it. But Mark Hamill refuses to let him go into it because it's a very Stephen King-esque situation, what's going on in that room, because this is based on a Stephen King short story. And that's the movie, but I'm not going to spoil it with you, because the connective thread is finding what you can and watching. And the reason why they do it in the 3-2-1 set, you will see and you will understand what the whole movie is about when you see the beginning of the first part. After the dance sequence with Tom Hiddleston, you begin to see what the whole thing is about. The very first scene in the first part, near the midpoint of the movie, you figure it pretty much spells out to you, this is what you're seeing. And you might not catch it because it is done in a version of a teacher trying to read a poem, and the students are just not reacting to it. They're laughing and talking and throwing stuff and not paying attention. And she just is too quiet that she doesn't want to go up against them, and just keeps reading, and no one really hears it except for Chuck's character. And he kind of asks her some questions about it, and she fills in the blanks a little bit more also. So again, you figure out what the whole movie is about, what you saw in part 3 at the very beginning of part 1, if you pay proper attention to it. If you don't, take that as a hint. Listen to what the teacher says at the beginning of the first part after Tom Hiddleston's dance sequence, and it goes back to the first part when the teacher is talking, reading the poem and what the poem is about, and Chuck's questions to her. Listen to her response, and you'll figure out what the third part is about. It's a phenomenal movie. I love this movie so much. Mike Flanagan went out of his way. He should do more stuff like this instead of doing remakes of The Mist, which we don't need. He needs to get back to working on the Dark Tower saga or adapting other Stephen King stories that haven't been done yet. But I digress. He's doing Carrie next. I'm not excited about that, but I might check it out still just because he is a good writer. He's pretty decent at what he does, and he knows Stephen King stuff. So that's it. That's your list. Long coming. I should have done this sooner, and the fact that I got it done in an hour and 15 minutes is surprising me at 37, which means I can probably do that when I do my other list show stuff. I should have a bunch of other list show stuff coming up. Probably the next one probably won't be for a little bit, or unless I try to do some over the next couple of weekends, but probably around Memorial Day, I'll probably do one again. I want to do, as my usual list, I like to do like the top 10 movies of 2016, the top 20 movies of 2000. Actually, I already did that one. Top 25 movies of 2001, top 30 movies of 1996. So stuff like that, top 35 movies in 1991, that sort of thing. I want to do my next list shows are going to be those, talking about movies that are celebrating anniversaries this year, and talk about them. I've already got the list written down. I just got to sit down here and do them. As I said, Memorial Day will probably be going to a 3-day weekend. Maybe this upcoming weekend, I've got a 4-day weekend. Maybe I'll do some of those. We'll find out. But for now, that's what I got. And that's it. So thanks for watching. And sorry it took me so long to get to this point. So far this year, I think there's only one movie, I think. Look at my letterbox. There's only one movie this year that I haven't seen. Yep. Yeah, the movies I've seen this year so far: Fright Night, which I've seen, the original, Scream 3, Star Wars, Just Like Heaven, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, L.A. Story, Mulholland Drive, Klaus, Roxanne, Gattaca, Life of Chuck, Sinners, Jojo Rabbit, and then Project Hail Mary, which is the only one I haven't seen. So far, here we are, April 2026. I've only seen one film in movie theaters and one film I've never seen before. At this time last year, one... National Target. I only saw two movies I'd never seen before. Three movies. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind. 3 movies, 2 of which I saw in movie theaters. At this point, May, I saw 2 movies in movie theaters that I hadn't seen before. 2 movies over a weekend. 3 movies I've seen over a weekend. Excuse me. That I hadn't seen before. So I saw 5 movies that I hadn't seen in May. And then June, I saw 8 movies I hadn't seen before in June. That was also the start of my long weekend stuff. So I got plans, stuff I want to see. It's just a matter of doing it. All right, that's all I got. 4:30, I'm leaving now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I should have a new show, Dylan Knows, coming out on Saturday. I'm going to check out The Devil Wears Prada 2 and maybe another movie if I have the time, Michael or something else, maybe Hope. Who knows? All right, see you guys.